Welcome once again, folks, to Blockbuster Mentality. I'm your host, Ben. Guess what? Dave is back again. He joins me, but we're also joined by someone. The title of the episode, we'll get to that once you subscribe to iTunes. To subscribe to us on iTunes, rate, review us, do all that. We'd appreciate it. Today we have on Howie Mandel. You might know him from Bobby's World, Little Monsters, Deal or No Deal, America's Got Talent. He's got a new podcast out with his daughter called Howie Mandel Does Stuff. Comes out every Tuesday. Definitely check that out. Some funny stuff. We have a great conversation. We analyze the 2010 masterpiece, Birdemic, Shock and Terror. It's one of those movies where it's so bad that it's good and funny. So it was a lot of fun to talk about with Howie, who has a background in comedy. He's a stand-up comedian, not even a background in comedy. He's a stand-up comedian. So it was great talking with him. An absolute pleasure. So here's our conversation with Howie Mandel. Are you in a hotel room? Or is that just a bedroom? That's Howie Mandel's bedroom.
It's not my bedroom, but it is a bedroom.
Okay. That's good to know.
And I won't be talking loud because the person whose bedroom it is going to nap. Oh. So the whole podcast should go like this, because I don't want to wake the person up. But this room has the best sound and lighting.
Okay. Yeah.
It is glorious.
We're a very sensual show, so yeah. It's right in with.
Well,
Delilah.
It'll be like informative and with a little touch of ASMR.
Yes, exactly. Perfect. So there we go.
In fact, if you want to not introduce me, you said you do that in post, or you don't want to do anything else, we can do a couple of minutes of just me chewing.
That's fine.
I'll take what we can get at this point. You know,
there's an audience for that. Yeah, I want to release the first featured length ASMR for theaters.
I mean,
I'm going to see a film tonight.
I'll tell you what, it'll be better than Birdemic.
You didn't like Birdemic?
We'll get into that. So you said you're seeing a film tonight?
No, I said I wanted to make a ASMR, a whole, just like 90 minutes or 2.5 hours of chewing and scratching, and licking, gotcha. and then serve at the snack bar at the theater just things that just apples and celery and Velcro. You can buy little Velcro vests to wear into the theater. Yeah, it's just like a noise fest.
You won't be chewing on the Velcro. You'll just be making noise with it.
You don't know.
Yeah, that's true.
Nobody does that. Everybody just thinks rip the Velcro. No, chew the Velcro. Nobody. There are people that love that sound.
That is true. That is true.
If you chew on Velcro, does it stick to your gums?
That's a great question.
No, it's
why
not.
do you? It doesn't.
It's not a great question. I mean, it is a question, but
it's a great question. In the fact that I don't know the answer. So anything I don't know the answer to is a great question.
There's got to be millions of great questions then for you.
That one was not yet.
And I'm not knocking you. I'm just saying any one person, anyone like me, if I judged a great question just by me not knowing the answer, I don't know that that's a good litmus test for what is considered a great question.
That's true. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So let's get deep into that. What
does that guy in the bus smell like? Great question.
I think that is a great question.
Yeah.
Is it?
It's fun to take guesses. So it's a great question. You know, it starts with, great conversation, I think.
Yeah, it could be a raccoon. It could be.
Yeah. Just straight up trash.
I don't know how you guys work on this show, but we'll take the third caller.
Okay. Are we
at that point already?
As a movie show, you've been in a movie or two. Are you an Oscars guy?
Have I won one? No.
I know. I know you have.
No. Did I watch it? Yes.
Okay.
I watch everything. I'm involved in any. I try to be aware of anything that could possibly be part of our pop culture.
Right. Are you? Were you a fan of any of the films this year?
Yeah, I was. I've seen I've seen just about everything. I thought News of the World would do better.
Yeah, Yeah, that had a great score. I mean, obviously you can't go wrong with Hanks. You know.
Well, did you not like the movie?
No, I thought it was great. Yeah, I thought it would do better too. That's what I'm saying.
I also thought like it struck a chord. It struck a chord.
Yeah.
Like it was so in tune with what we're dealing with now between, Fox and CNN, and he read the news and kind of curbed it based on who his audience was. And at the same time, it was that adventure of getting the little girl. I thought it was shot beautifully. I was amazed that
I love when period
wasn't more recognized.
Exactly. I love when period pieces can speak on modern day. It's always fun. Dave, I know you're not an award show guy.
No, and I've fallen off my interest in the Oscars over the last couple of years. I did not even, in fact, Ben, you texted me Monday morning with some of the controversy on one of the awards, and I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, the Oscars were last night, dude. I'm like, oh shit. That's
well, you know what? I don't think you're alone. I think that a lot of, aside, we all know what the ratings were, and we all know whether you love the show or not. But I think a big part of it wasn't even on the radar like it usually is. It wasn't on anybody. Like, whether I watch it or not, it's on, and you're not alone, Dave, in being I think Anthony Hopkins didn't even realize that he was supposed to show up to the award show.
That he won one of the biggest awards
somewhere. I know. Which they actually moved to the end because they thought it would be a great ending to the show to have a posthumous award.
Right.
That was the reason. And
didn't quite work out that way, did it?
It's the first time in award show history. Well, they knew that whoever won Best Actor wasn't going to show up, but one was just lost and one was just passed.
Right. Yeah. So, so yeah, they knew either way. They were right, but
so it was a win-win. That's a win-win.
That's true. It is true. Yeah, apparently he was asleep when it was announced, because in Wales it was, in the middle of the night or whatever. So, hey, good on him. Hey, he woke up to good news. Good for him.
Somebody went in his room and like jarred him awake. He's like, "Oh, fuck off. Let me go back to sleep."
You won. Oh, I didn't give a shit. Now you got to talk to you about a couple of things, and then we'll get into the movie. Now, obviously, Little Monsters and Bobby's World, that was a big part of my childhood. And then Deal or No Deal comes out. I did not realize you were Bobby's World and Little Monsters.
Well, I always talk about the fact that until Deal or No Deal, I had such a severed audience base. So when I started, I was a stand-up, and I did a young comedian special. And on my young comedian special, it was me, this kid Jerry Seinfeld, and this other kid Richard Lewis, and it was hosted by the Smothers Brothers. And Harry Anderson was in it. Remember, he went on to do a show called Night Court. Yeah. But that kind of launched me, and I was playing theaters. And the next iteration of my career was like most comedians. I thought I was going to move into a sitcom, and I went and met at MTM and ended up on Saint Elsewhere, which wasn't the plan. But throughout Saint Elsewhere, and for those that don't know, that's where Denzel Washington came out of, and a lot of great writers and directors and actors, Tim Robbins, Kathy Bates. Both of those, I think, their first appearance after graduating college and acting, they were on our show. I mean, anybody who was I have pictures. I look back, I go, he was on our show. Anyway, the point was that was the beginning of the kind of dichotomy between what people knew me as and who they thought I was. Mail, that there was no internet at the time, so people would mail me every week. I have a bet with my husband that Fiscus, which was the name of my character on St. Elsewhere, is not the same goofball that blows a rubber glove up on his head, which is what I did in my comedy act. And then I went on and I started doing Bobby's World. And this Saturday morning crowd, whether it was the kids and their mother, didn't know I was a guy from St. Elsewhere and didn't know I was a guy that did stand-up. Didn't even know when I got recognized that I was the guy who did the voice for the same. Yeah. And also the same thing with Gremlins. They people don't know that I'm Gizmo
and Muppet Babies.
Muppet Babies. I was Skeeter. It's all the same voice. See,
Yeah.
This is Bobby and Gizmo. It's all the same.
It's amazing you could still do it.
Why?
I don't know.
What part of me do you think has aged out of being able to do a voice?
Just your vocal cords.
Can you answer that question?
Yeah, your vocal cords have changed over time.
Oh, you're right.
So it wasn't a great question. Sorry.
Oh, you had the answer.
No, it was a great question.
Have you tried to use that same voice to get some more? I mean, you can really keep going with that, no?
I kind of lowered it. That's how I became Animal on Muppet Babies. If I look, go bye. And I was also Bunsen Honeydew, which is, if you don't listen to me, I'll make your sister disappear. So I still have the ability to do it, but nobody's asking me. Gizmo kind of recreated. Gizmo is they have a new Mountain Dew ad out now, and that's me doing the Gizmo voice.
I just saw that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I do that. So I did it on your podcast.
You sure did.
And so give me an idea. I'm gonna do it on my podcast too.
Yeah, now you're going to be even more famous because you did it.
Are they making another
obviously.
Gremlins or something? Or
they're doing something that I'm not involved with. I think it's an animated one that they didn't ask me to be part of.
Well, that's bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Sorry that happened.
I want to be part of everything.
Yeah.
You should.
Real quick before we get into your podcast, what's how awful was doing the makeup on Little Monsters? How awful of an experience is that?
Horrible. So that's what kind of got me out of the movie business. I was doing movies, at the same when St. Elsewhere was on, I was getting every break. I had a choice of a few movies, and I was doing movies. And then I was in Wilmington, North Carolina doing with Fred Savage, Little Monsters. And at that time, I think they've advanced in the technology that they can use in special effects makeup and stuff. I hear from friends who do movies that, at that time that I didn't have like cold water running through a suit or, like a cooling thing. So they just glued all this latex for 5 hours to my face. I was just covered in latex, and no pun intended, but I felt like such a dick. Anyway, and then I'm in Wilmington, North Carolina in August, the most humid, hot place I could it was really nice. Wrightsville Beach is a really nice place, but I can't tell you how many times I passed out.
Oh,
and then the next movie I did after that, the next break I got was Walk Like a Man, and I got my teeth knocked out with Christopher Lloyd and Cloris Leachman, and I got my teeth knocked out. And I said to my wife, I don't want to do this anymore. I mean, I don't want to. This is not for me. I don't. First of all, I don't think it's. Even though we talked about the Academy Awards, I don't know how much of an actor's medium it really is. As somebody who does stand-up comedy, who shows up, stands wherever I want to stand, says whatever I want to say, has no marks to hit, as opposed to, waiting alone in a trailer for 3 hours, 3,000 miles away from home. And then, somebody will come in and comb your hair and dress you. And then they say, come out here and stand on this piece of tape. And then the director gives you, or a script has some words for you to say. And the director says, I'm going to do it from 30 different angles. And then they edit it all together. I had no... not that I need to control it, but it's really a writer's and director's medium.
I'm sure.
Much more, because you could take the best actor with a shitty director and a bad script does not make for a good movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
But a mediocre actor with a great script and a great director and a great editor, you can make a blockbuster. No pun intended.
Hey, that's the name of our show.
Yeah, that's what becomes so hard to judge sometimes, even as we go through the movies. And typically we talk about movies that are classics. So it's generally accepted that, this is a good performance. This was good editing, good directing or whatever. But it is, why things fail, why they succeed. Who was it? How do you sort of judge, what made this movie what it was? And that is interesting.
Well, I also find it really funny that the people in the film business, award themselves and then are in a contest together. What did you like better? The depiction of the astronaut who, is lost in space for 3 years, or the Native American who invents the blanket? Like, how do you even, like, what is that? I don't even understand what, and it's just pretending. I also like the sanctity of the Academy Awards. It used to be. I once had a fight with my mom because somebody got up. This is years and years ago, like 20 years ago. Somebody got up at the Academy Awards. I can't remember. It might have been Michael Moore or somebody got up in his acceptance speech and said something political. And I was on the phone with my mom the next day. And she goes, "That's so disrespectful." And I go, "What do you mean? I mean, here's a guy. He's got a platform and he's a documentarian, and here's his platform. 1 billion people are watching all over the world." This is definitely 20 years ago because there weren't 1 billion people watching. I don't think there was 10 million. Anyway, the point being that I said he had his platform, and she goes, "But not at the Academy Awards. It's so disrespectful." And I'm thinking, it's just a group of people whose life is about, pretending. I mean, I don't know how important. I'm talking about directors and writers. I'm not dissing actors. I'm an actor myself. I'm just saying the amount of pomp and circumstance put into acting, unless your film is actually moving the conversation or changing the world or making people understand something historically and kind of opening your eyes. Otherwise, there's no difference between a movie and a concert as far as true. How it moves the world.
Yeah. So those actors, they live in that bubble. So why, how could you really expect them to relate to the,
well, I always say that, I came to this business late, in my life, in my 20s. I mean, even the inkling of wanting to be in this business. And, my kids, I have 3 kids, and I have a one's a teacher in the inner city and the other one's a therapist. But what's really funny is that if you go, it's like having raised children. If your job is acting, you get this. I get it as a human being to kind of garner this kind of self-importance. I mean, in what other industry does somebody pick you up from work, and if you got a little piece of snot hanging from your nose, there's actually somebody hired to walk over and go, "Cut, wait, let me get that for you." Right. And they'll actually pick your nose, and they'll just make you look better than you could ever make yourself look. And I get, as a human being, going, I must be very important.
Well, that sounds like the way Ben and I are when we hang out together. So I feel very
that's true. Many times he's wiped my nose. Yeah. So
yes,
it's like you read our biography that doesn't exist. So thank you.
No, and I'm thrilled to be here. I love movies. And I've always loved movies. Well, and I love escaping and going to movies. And I've seen every classic. I love movies. Yeah. And I'm fascinated by movie making. I love the technology. Right. I love the artistry. And that's why, today when you ask me to pick a movie, it's real easy. There's so many classics and so many movies I loved even this year. And a lot of them were nominated, and I love them for different reasons. But what my wife and I have gotten into is our fascination with cinema, kind of not done to the standards that most people are used to. And, listen, and that's always been, it hasn't just drawn me, what's the name of the movie that Franco did about The Room?
The Room, Disaster Artist. Yeah.
Disaster Artist.
Yeah.
So that fascination with somebody that has so much passion and so myopic in like you would think, I'm going to try to make a movie. I'm going to try to do a love story. I'm going to try to do this. But even to watch back what you've done and go, "Ooh, this didn't turn out like anything I've ever seen." The fact that they're not that self-aware is more fascinating to me, and also teaches me more about film than something that is done so slickly.
Right, because it's you can show someone a movie and be like, "See, this is exactly what you want to do. This is exactly what you want to do." Whereas,
or this is what you want to aspire to. Right, this is how you're going to do it, and that's why at the midpoint of the pandemic, after binge watching every movie that I've seen in my entire life, all the new movies, every movie that I've loved throughout my life, back again, I said to my wife, I said, let's want to watch some not so stellar, stuff, and we can enjoy it on many levels. We can enjoy it comedically. We can enjoy it just because our jaws are dropped open that anybody got a buck to put this thing together.
Exactly.
And we started watching a lot. I mean, we'll talk about Birdemic in a second, but I watched Killer Sofa.
What the hell is that? No, I don't know.
Exactly what you think it is. You got to go on. I think it's either on Apple or Amazon or one of them. You go to like cheap horror movies. There's Llamageddon about llamas from outer space. That, even before this, you remember? Have you ever talked about the movie Teeth? Do you know that movie?
No, we cannot say we do.
No, we don't know any.
We're a movie show, and you're teaching us.
Well, it is. This is genre.
Yeah.
So Teeth. Actually, my daughter told me to watch. Teeth is about a girl who actually was lived and grew up near a nuclear plant,
right?
Which apparently isn't healthy, and she looks normal and somewhat acts normal, except that she has grown a full set of teeth in her netherworld.
Oh God!
But the greatest scene in the trailer, and you can play the trailer like that. The way they find out, her little cousin is in one of those blow up pools with her, and they're playing and splashing in the water. They're like 2 or 3 years old, and he sticks his hand in the water between her legs, and there's a blood curdling scream, and then his finger comes up filled with blood. And this is called Teeth. And it's a don't miss. I'm telling you, we laugh hysterically. I've seen it 3 times.
Yeah, that's I'm definitely gonna have to check that out.
If you want to go for gross, incredibly gross, there's Human Centipede, which I'm sure you're familiar with.
Yeah. Is
that a classic?
I mean, it's a classic bad horror movie, I would say. Yeah. So,
and then my all-time favorite, which I've watched like maybe 5 times, and I love it on so many different levels, is Birdemic.
So okay, let's.
Did you guys watch the trailer?
We watched the movie. Watched the movie.
I'm sorry
for you. That's what we prepare. We prepare for the show.
So tell me, as film buffs, as people who know, or I presume have some taste in cinema, a little bit, but who are passionate about film and want to talk about film. And what was your first reaction to Birdemic?
First, I mean, hilarious. It just. Like you said earlier, I can't believe that anyone would spend $1 to make this movie.
There's Birdemic too. Not only did they spend $1, they threw in another one, and that is why I think the hardest thing to do in film is comedy. I really do, because you're working in this vacuum. As somebody who does stand up, the way I hone my act is I was always on stage. And then if this didn't work, I could hone it and get it to a point where it worked. And even in comedy films, other films too, there are always test screenings and then re-edits and reshoots and things like that. So this is really guttural, real comedy. It was not meant or put together to be funny. Right. But I've never laughed so hard, and it doesn't. And anytime you watch it, it doesn't lose any of the funniness. And hopefully people are opening up a little bit more. But you should have people over and watch it again with friends.
Oh yeah,
and it's a great drinking game show. It's a great movie. It's just great to sit. It's kind of like the new Showgirls.
Yeah. Well, and even the Room, Troll 2, it kind of reminds me of those where people actually get together in theaters and watch it. I think this could be one of those where people start just gathering around just to quote the movie and cheer along.
I really think, and I went and bought the sweatshirt, and I'm on a mission to make this movie a classic. I really believe that, just for the special effects alone.
Oh. 100%.
And here's what I will tell you: if you haven't seen the movie, I'm talking to your listeners. There's effects, and they are special, but not in the good way.
Yeah. Yes, not in the good way. And I love how I believe the first time we see the special effect is a dead bird just laying on the beach. They see the dead bird laying on the beach. And first of all, it's like you couldn't have first of all, it's around Halloween time, obviously. You're at some sort of Halloween festival. You couldn't have found a fake bird at some dollar store or something and just at least laid it on the ground. You had to use CGI for a motionless bird on the beach. I found that just absolutely hysterical. I couldn't even tell it was a bird until they said it was a bird. It was just
Well, I'm now afraid of origami, and until you see the movie, you won't realize what it is. But if I see somebody doing like paper origami birds, it reminds me of the movie, and I let out a blood curdling. It's so funny. But not only the special effects, and we could be specific, and this is what got me the most, the pauses of silence, the pauses of like our actor walking from one scene to another. It's like a 2-mile trek. It's every time the transition from one scene to another, it seems like almost a half an hour. Or even when he says our lead, our hero, is apparently in the digital software business,
right?
And he sold $1 billion. He made a sale.
Yeah,
he tells everybody in the boardroom he made a sale. I actually timed it, and they all go woo, and they start applauding.
Right?
You know, that's 58 seconds of applauding.
Just goes around the whole room.
You think it's over. You think it's over, and then it's just like next shot.
I think if you play that clip here, even audibly, and we talk through it, it's crazy how long. Do you have access to do that or no?
Yeah, let me pull it up right now.
He announces that this is our lead. He announces that there's a sale. There's maybe 8 people sitting in a boardroom, so he's telling his board members that he made the sale. And the acting style that they've chosen for this film is like it's kind of like a bad font. It's because everybody's doing it exactly the same,
right?
While Ben's queuing that up, I got a quick question for you. Since you've been in Hollywood for decades and you know writers, directors, producers, all these kinds of people, how is that handled on a personal level? And I mean, I don't know if you've known anyone that made a movie this bad, but there are some duds out there, and I'm sure you've met and
I've been in them.
Right. So how is that treated? Is it treated with respect and kids' gloves? Or are you ribbed for being a part of a bad movie? Or if you made a bad one, how is that handled? I'm curious about that.
It's usually the truth is, and this is the difference between Birdemic. If something I've done and the people that I know have done kind of recognize that they've made a bad movie or it's been a flop. Yeah, I think there's an overall like embarrassment and which is kind of the knee-jerk reaction. You're embarrassed. You hope nobody brings it up. You don't want to even be recognized for that. You can forget it. You'll see a lot of actors won't even promote something once they've seen a screening. And then there's this category of movie where the person is celebrating.
I think we're still on mute.
There, I'm on mute.
There we go.
I'm just kind of showing you the production quality of Birdemic, but I'm doing it on your podcast.
Right. Yeah, that's the issue. But yeah, he tells them $1 billion. They cheer a little, and then they cheer again. Like it just keeps going and going.
It's 1 minute. It's 58 seconds of cheering. It's crazy. And they see these paper birds coming at them, and at some point, and they thank God they had hangers, because apparently hangers is if you're ever being attacked by birds, get a hanger.
Get a hanger, and then just place CGI birds over the people with the hangers. Gosh. And it's I love how there's no score during that part when they first are getting attacked. It just it's like, oh my God.
Wait a minute. Do that again. Was it you?
That was me. I know, it's uncanny.
Wow. It's like I'm reliving the movie again.
Exactly. But of course, it. Go ahead, Dave.
No, you go ahead.
Of course, it happens right after he gets the girl, right after she gets her deal with Victoria's Secret, and everything's going great. They hooked up the night before.
Hey! Spoiler!
Yeah, spoiler. Sorry, yeah, but come on. I think
they don't know.
Spoilers,
they didn't have to know that she got her deal with Victoria's Secret.
That's true.
And what I also love the way News of the World kind of mirrored, how we intake news and what we do with it today. And it really, something that was supposedly a century old kind of bespokes what, our current issues are. The same thing with this movie, with the global warming and, it just really, I think it's an important film.
Oddly, it is. Yeah, go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, would you guys say that that the warnings of global warming were a central theme to this film? It wasn't clear there to me that that's what this was about, particularly with that 10-minute speech by the ornithologist.
There's a random scientist they find with a mask on
the beach.
Right on the beach. Wearing a mask. I mean, that's predicting the future right there.
Well, the fact that it's called Birdemic.
I know, this is so timely. Guys,
at first I thought, oh my God, this is like, is this a bad movie? And then I thought, no, this is an important movie.
It's an important movie.
Sometimes it's just like what's going on in the world now. You think things are bad, you think things are wrong, and then you turn out finding this is right. This is right. This is the path we should be taking.
Yeah.
So if anybody's questioning the path that they are on in their life right now, I think this is more important than just entertainment. I think this is must-see cinema.
This should be shown in every classroom in the United States.
Yeah. And even though we could tell that the birds are not real and they're made of paper, and some people have told me, oh, it's just paper birds. It's just paper birds. But what they're not thinking about is paper cuts are probably the most painful of injuries that one can sustain.
I got one right here.
From a paper bird?
It was a paper bird. It attacked my car. And then I decided, after I gained knowledge that it was attacking my car specifically, I decided to get back in my car and go to no particular destination.
Well, this was more of a travel log in kind of they didn't really have a good location. I would imagine there was no location manager because they a lot of this movie is them moving from one place to another. It looks like they couldn't stay. You're right. There's no because you get with this budget they didn't have permits, and you sense even in these scenes that somebody has said, and they've probably muted that, you can't shoot this here.
Right.
Get out.
Yeah.
And that seems to be the end of every scene. You can't, and then you see them kind of packing up and leaving for no reason because I think they mute the owners of whatever these locations are, telling them to get out. You can't make your movie here.
Well, and speaking of muting, every time there's like a cut, even when they're having a conversation, they'll cut to the other person talking and it'll be silence for a minute and then totally different background noise, but it's the same conversation. Like the sound mixing is just, or sound editing, whatever you want to call it. It's
sound mix-upping. It's sound mix-upping.
My bad.
Who was not recognized at all the other night at the Academy Award.
Well, they combined it. They combined editing and mixing to just sound across the board. I know.
Yeah, but I think I'm sensing that you guys are being somewhat judgmental. The fact is that there was a whole potpourri of sounds in every cut that you don't get from other films. This was so much more with the advent of delivering so much less.
That's true. Yeah. I mean, how often when you're trying to pay attention to dialogue, you get like blaring street noise between each cut? I'm glad it was in there. I mean,
you know what I like? I like a movie where you can leave with a lot of unanswered questions.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there are so many questions. They're all why, but there's a lot of whys.
A lot of whys. But there's even anti-war message in this movie briefly.
There's a lot of messages.
Yeah, a lot of messages in this movie. But we're not being judgmental here. No judgmental. We loved it.
No judgmental?
No judgmental.
No judgmental.
No judgmental here.
Yeah.
No judgmental. You know what? If you want to, with that kind of dialogue, maybe you can write Birdemic 3.
That's right. I mean, that's, we'll see. We'll see.
One thing I really do appreciate is in movies, you typically don't see long conversations between someone and, say, the wait staff or the host staff or the guy dropping off a beer. And I really think that's kind of the important moments in film. I mean, I think the first dialogue in the movie is our main character walking into a diner. And I think for 2 minutes, he interacted with the staff. He sat down. He was shown the seat specifically, pointed out to him. He looked at the menu for 30 seconds, but didn't really look at anything. And then he stares creepily at the girl down a few booths down. But I do appreciate that, particularly the service workers in our country, who many of them lost their jobs during the COVID pandemic, and now during this bird pandemic as a way to honor them.
Yep,
it really is. They are the first line of the first responders, the wait staff.
Well, You have gas station guy. You have gas station guy is still, he's charging $100 a gallon, for that. He's still manning his thing. He's an essential worker, I guess. At least he's still.
You get the sense that, like right before action, the statement. Do you mind if I riff a little on this one? Was used a lot.
Go for it.
No, I'm saying that's what's happening on the set.
I misunderstand.
I know what you wrote, but I'm just gonna riff.
Right.
Do I have time with the waitress? Do I have time with the gas station guy?
I don't know if these actors were equipped for that. I think they just said, "Oh, these are my lines. Okay, I'm gonna say this exactly how it is." But that's just me. That's just me.
No. I think it was bad improv. That's where I had there was a guy at the Comedy Store, and I'm not going to mention their name. Well, you wouldn't know their name anyway, but he didn't really make it, but he said, I'm just going to do crowd work today. And, which reminded me of the movie. And he would get on and he'd go, where are you from? And somebody in the audience would go, Pennsylvania. I went there once, when I was 7, with my parents. Anybody else from Pennsylvania? Well, that is crowd work, but you're just basically I don't know if it's crowd comedy. It's just like strangers.
I've been there too. You're just on stage doing small talk.
So I felt like there's no way that these lines came out of a script on Birdemic, that somebody just said, just sit down, riff it, but ask her about the restaurant and make it real.
Yeah.
The third part didn't come to fruition, but it feels like they sat down and riffed without the talent of being riffable.
Oh, the gas station guy, clearly he was just a random guy that was actually working, and they came up and said, will you say a few lines for $20?
And you don't get that sense from everybody in the movie. You think the gas station guy was a random guy who they should say a couple lines?
That's what
Nobody else. I think the only people meant to be there were the bird folders. Whoever was folding those birds and throwing them up, or however that was done.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. I think Rod and what was her name? Natalie.
Yeah.
I think they were very wooden, and I think they were just totally reading script. Everyone else, I guess you can make the case for that.
I love that you're knocking their acting. I think if they had been looser and not wooden and more lifelike, the movie would be worse. I think that they stayed within the milieu of whatever
that's true.
The environment our director and writer created.
Yeah, the Birdemic universe.
Yeah. You don't want to see, a Frances McDormand performance in the midst of that. That would have taken you out of the movie.
But go ahead, Dave.
What about the tree hugger guy? I think his name was Tom Hill or something. He gave a bit of a speech as well about something about the bark of the redwoods. We spent a little time education on that.
But that's what I'm saying. Climate change, bark. We learn about birds. We learn about protection. We learn about relationships. We learn about the whole digital valley, the Silicon Valley. Yeah. We learn so much. And it's better than, remember a couple of years ago, what won the Academy Award? What was that called? Sideways. where they went up the coast for wine tasting. Didn't this feel like Sideways, but more for birds?
Very much so.
Yeah, it's
like Northern California, and they're up and down the coast. This is the Sideways for bird lovers.
Which one was the Pinot Noir grape? I wonder.
Pinot Noir.
That's the question. Yeah.
I think that Bart guy is the Paul Giamatti of.
That's true. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he was like the bark connoisseur.
Right.
That's right.
Now I was confused though, because I think the message of the movie is we think we're led to assume that the birds are sent from someplace, and they're specifically attacking cities, vehicles, anything that's like civilization, right? But our characters go into the woods and meet the man who lives in a treehouse that the little kids want to go play in, but then we're scared off from a mountain lion who's threatening their lives and they have to run away. So I'm left not sure. I mean, should we return to nature and be eaten by the mountain lion, or should we get back into our car and be attacked by the birds? So I was a little confused on that. Any thoughts there from either one of you?
Yeah. And the truth is I can't answer the question. So therefore, Dave, what an amazing question. Yeah. That was probably the best question of my whole appearance here. Yeah. That is fantastic.
Also,
I don't know. You gave away the whole movie about the lion and the forest and the kid in the tree and the Victoria's Secrets. And then for those that didn't see it, I would imagine the people that are listening to this right now, I mean, it is so confusing just to explain it, even if you weren't trying to be funny and you explained it verbatim. It's the most ridiculous. And that's why I could watch it again tonight and laugh just as much as I did last night. Go ahead.
I love the fact that she's a model and she's taking her photos at a 1 hour photo store.
Because that's where Victoria's Secret models always.
Yeah, that's how they find them. Yeah, that's how they discover them.
Are there even 1 hour photos of anywhere now? No.
I don't
think so. No. Yeah. I think you have to like send away your film or something if you have film. But yeah, obviously we don't want to keep you too much longer. Do you have anything else to say about the movie before we talk about your new podcast?
Just watch it and then watch and then rewatch it and look for all the hidden gems.
Yeah, absolutely. I got two things. One, we learned how to properly cook a fish, right? Because you catch it and you throw the whole fish into water
on the fire. That's boiled fish. Fish on the beach, right? Yep. Why were they there? Why were they camping?
We don't know.
Okay. I've seen the movie 11 times. I don't know what the fuck is going on. Sorry.
And then this is for whoever wants to answer this first. Line from the movie. Where's Becky?
She's taking a shit. Taking a shit.
What God's name is that line?
Dead serious.
Makes it real, right? It's real.
Really.
Totally. That's how we all talk.
Thank you so much for letting us watch this movie. It was a pleasure.
You can't get that time back.
I know. I'll probably watch it again. I'm not going to lie to you.
Go see Lamageddon and Killer Couch.
Killer Couch, Lamageddon. Can't wait. And Teeth.
Teeth is great. Yeah. Teeth, that one's for the whole family.
Howie Mandel does stuff. What can you tell us about this?
How much more is there to explain?
Boom.
That's my podcast.
Yeah,
and I do. We talk about things I've done, like watching the movie. We do prank calls. We take challenges. Heidi Klum is on this week. Nice. It's always me and my daughter, Jacqueline Schultz. It's sometimes inappropriate. We were in lockdown like the world, and me and my daughter would spend hours on the phone doing prank calls, trying out for jobs that we weren't qualified to do, fucking with my celebrity friends and things like that. And my wife once said, "What is this for?" And I said, "It's for another hour." And she goes, "No, why don't you record it and make it a podcast?" So Howie Mandel Does Stuff is a podcast available wherever podcasts are available, wherever you get it.
Sounds great. Yeah. It's, and then you have like 3 episodes out, or do you have more than that?
A third one just as I spoke to you. The third one dropped today.
Okay, cool.
But, definitely. We're going to do every week, every Tuesday they drop.
And if it entices you folks, I just had it here. The title for his latest episode, Howie Mandel Does Stuff. I'm stalling as I pull this up. Howie,
What?
Huh?
I don't know what the title is.
I know. I'm stalling because I'm pulling it up. Go ahead, Dave.
Is the one? Oh, I don't know if it's the latest one, but the one I listened to today was Naked Rubdowns, Fupas, and Taints, which I think will interest our kind of audience.
Well, remember, it's me talking to my daughter. And
I don't know.
Her mother.
And you
was last week. And Fupas and Taints were last week.
Yeah.
And you have an ad for ED with your daughter, so that's
so you know that you got to read your ads, right?
Yeah,
you guys are reading them together, but when you get an ad for ED, this product will ensure that your erection lasts longer and is harder. And then I have to turn to my daughter, Jackie, tell them about it.
That's whew. Kudos
so even
to you.
Just tune in to hear the ads on our show.
Exactly. Even those are entertaining. So yeah, definitely check out the show, folks. Howie, we really appreciate you coming on and discussing movies with us and discussing what you're working on.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. There you have it, Howie Mandel. Listen to him on Howie Mandel Does Stuff, wherever you find podcasts. Listen to us, too. We'd appreciate that if you listen to us. You can subscribe to us on iTunes. Again, rate, review us, all that. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at BlockbusterCast and Instagram at Blockbuster Mentality. That's where you'll get all the updates on the show. That's it. All right, folks. Well, that is it for me, for Dave and Howie Mandel. I'm Ben, and as always, grab some popcorn, grab some snacks. We'll catch you guys at the movies.